Hi, I'm from Badger Basket, here to go through the assembly instructions for the retro diner and kitchen doll playset with accessories. Before we get started, make sure you look at all the pieces included. If you're missing anything or have any damaged parts, please contact Badger Basket as shown in the end of the instructional video. Also, for this assembly, I will be using a drill to make the assembly go a little bit faster, but please have the torque setting set on low if you choose to use a drill. Otherwise, feel free to use a hand Phillips screwdriver. So let's get started. For step 1, you need part A, the kitchen diner divider, part E, the right side, and 2 of the II bolts. So for this step, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the divider. We want the checkered design facing upward. We're going to align it to the right side and screwing through the right side into these 2 end holes. Now when looking at the right side, you're going to see one side that has holes that are larger. This needs to face outward or away from the divider. So we're going to put the divider here and we're going to screw into these 2 holes, the ones that are closest to this curve. We're going to line it up, put the bolts through each of these holes. And the checkered design should be facing towards this curve, that lower side, and we're going to screw both of these into place. For step 2, you need part L, the right seat, part O, the right seat support, and you need 4 of the II bolts. So first for this step, what we're going to be doing is screwing the support piece to the bottom of the chair. Now when looking at the chair, you're going to see there's one hole. You're going to want the larger side of the hole facing upward. You're going to take the support piece, it's going to go under so the bolt can go through the top and through into the support piece, like so. Now if you have this hole in the wrong spot, it's not going to line up, so make sure it's facing this way so that it matches the length or the width of that chair. So first let's put the bolt going down through that chair and going into the support piece. Once you have it in place, then what we're going to be doing is putting the seat and attaching it to this first piece we already assembled. Now there's going to be one hole on the chair that's going to align to this hole closest to this side rail here. Then you're going to have another hole on the chair that's going to align to this piece, and then one in the support is going to be going into this last hole on the side. So you should have 3 bolts that you're going to be putting into place. So I'm going to put in the one in the side, the one through the top, and the one through the top in the back. So let's get all 3 into place. For step 3, you need part J, the tabletop, part T, the table support, and 3 of the II bolts. So next to assemble the table, first we're going to be taking the table support. When looking at the table support, you're going to see 2 wooden pegs coming out of it. You're going to want it the long way going up and down. You're going to put this first wooden peg along the longest edge into this very bottom hole in the middle. So you're going to insert that wooden peg. Then you're going to see another hole in the middle here going through the back where you're going to align it up and you're going to screw through the back to hold that table support into place. So let's get this one screwed in. Next, what you're going to be doing is taking the table and putting it on top of the table support. So the underside of the table, you'll see this one hole that is meant to be set onto this wooden peg here. Once you align it onto that wooden peg, there's going to be 2 holes on each side through the back that you're going to screw from behind the back here into this edge on the tabletop. So first, we're going to put it into that wooden hole. Make sure it's set down firmly. We're going to go from behind here and put the 2 bolts going through the tabletop and get these both screwed into place. For step 4, you're going to be using part K, the left seat, and part P, the left seat support, 2 of the II bolts. For this step, what we're going to be doing is mimicking what we did on the right side. So we're going to take the left seat here, the curved edge is going to be going towards the middle, the larger of the hole facing upward. We're going to screw down with a bolt going into the support piece, That one hole is going to be facing upward. Again, this width matching this with the hole in the same spot here. We're going to put that bolt going down through, and then we're going to line up to the back. We're going to bolt through the back, through this hole, into the seat itself. So let's put both of these bolts into place. For step 5, you're going to use part S, the bottom front rail, and one of the II bolts. So to put on the bottom front rail, what we're going to be doing is we're going to turn this around and we're going to be placing it on this side. Now when looking at the front rail, you're going to see a wooden peg. You're going to want this facing upward. Also, one side will have plastic inserts. Have this facing inward toward the middle so you do not see them. Now we're going to line it up to this right side that we already have into place, and we're going to be putting a bolt through this very edge hole here from the outside, going inward into the hole. So let's get this screwed into place. For step 6, you need part B, the kitchen bottom, part G, the kitchen middle divider, and 5 of the II bolts. So first for this step, what we're going to be doing is putting the divider into the kitchen bottom. Now when looking at the kitchen bottom, you're going to see these 2 holes in the middle. The back side is where it's going to have the larger holes, so that's going to be going away from that middle divider. So the 2 smaller holes here are going to line up to the 2 holes on the end here. So what you're going to do is when you put them together, you're going to want the edge with the smaller holes to line up on the same side as these smaller holes. When you have them lined up, we're going to put 2 screws going through the bottom into the side of this kitchen divider. So let's get these screwed into place. So next what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting this into the kitchen into place. So we're going to tip this up. The side that has all of these small holes, including on the middle divider here, is going to be facing towards the outer edge. Now there is that wooden peg in the middle that we should have facing upward. It's going to go into a hole right in the center here. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to align this over that peg and make sure that it pops into place. Once you have it in that peg, now there's going to be 1 hole in the back here that we're going to screw through into that middle divider. Then on the edge here, on the right side, there's going to be 2 holes down here, which are going to go into that kitchen bottom that we should have into place. So there's going to be 3 screws to put in. So let's get all 3 in. For step 7, you need part F, the left side, 2 of part W, which are the female latches. You need 7 of the II bolts and 4 of the LL bolts. So for this step first, what I'm going to be doing is putting in the female latches. Now in this middle divider, you should have these smaller holes that are facing towards the outside. Now the female latch, when you look at it, it's going to have this U-shaped latch here. We want that facing outside, where this back flat piece can be flush against the middle divider. You're going to line up these holes with the 2 holes in the divider, and you're going to be putting into the small bolts, the LL, into each hole. You're going to repeat that on the other side, again having this U shape facing outward and this back piece flush against the back. Align it with the holes and put both bolts going through. So let's get both of these put into place. So the last part of this step is putting on this left side. Now there's going to be 7 bolts that need to be put into place. We're going to put it the same way that we did the other side, where the larger holes are facing outward. That's where the bolts are going to be going through. And it's going to have that same curve to match the other side. So the curve will be going on the side of the seats. So 7 of the bolts, you're going to have the 1 that's going to go into this front rail. You're going to have the 2 in the middle, the 2 that are going to be going to this kitchen bottom here, 1 through the chair, and 1 through that support panel. So let's get all 7 bolts put into place. step 8, you need part I, the cupboard door, part H, the oven door, 4 of the part V hinges, and 8 of the LL bolts. So next what we're going to be doing is putting the hinges on the door. When looking at the door, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the opposite side of the picture, so you have the back side of the door. You're going to see these 2 small holes on each side here, which is where the hinges are going to line up to. Now when looking at the hinges, you're going to see one side that has this fixed curve or L shape. This L shape is going to wrap around to meet this edge here, and the loose piece you're going to have sitting on your surface here. So again, the L shape is going to wrap around this edge here with this loose piece down on your surface. You're going to take these LL bolts, you're going to bolt in all 4 on this side. You're going to repeat the same thing with the oven door, again having the wrong side facing upward, that L shape wrapping around with this loose piece dangling downward. And then again, putting in all 4 bolts. So let's get all 8 put into place. For step 9, you need part 2 of the Y male latches and 4 of the LL bolts. So in order to connect the male latch to this door, you're going to want to be looking at the wrong side again, not the side with the picture. So with the wrong side facing up, you're going to see these 2 small screw holes here. This is where the male latch is going to attach to. You're going to line up the long edge of the male latch and make sure it's flush against this edge, and you're going to be putting the 2 bolts going down to hold this latch into place. We're going to repeat the same thing on this side. Again, looking for these 2 small holes here. You're going to line them up with the latch, and you're going to put the 2 bolts going down. So let's get both of these male latches put into place. For step 10, you need 2 of part X, which are the handles, and 4 of the KK bolts. Now to connect the handles, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the side with the picture now, and this is the side the handle is going to be coming off from. You're going to align these 2 holes that are in the handle to the 2 holes in the door. So you're going to place it around those 2 holes, and you're going to bolt through these larger holes on the back side into the handle. You're going to repeat the same thing with the other door, so let's get both these handles put into place. For step 11, you need 8 of the LL bolts. So for this step, what we're going to be doing is attaching the oven and the cabinet door onto the kitchen set that we've already assembled. Now when looking at the oven door, we're going to look at these hinges that we already have put into place. We're going to be putting 4 bolts, so 2 in each side, into these small holes on the left side of the kitchen piece here. The wrong side you're going to have facing inward with the picture side facing out. So to make this easiest, I'm going to lay this down with these hinges here, resting down and aligning to these small holes here. We're going to be putting 4 bolts down in order to get the oven door put into place. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the whole thing up to make it a little bit easier. And you're going to see these small holes here, which is where the cabinet door is going to attach to. So again, finding the hinges, lining them to these small holes here, and we're going to put 4 bolts in to hold this one into place. So let's get both of these doors bolted in. For step 12, you need R, the stovetop control, Q, the clock timer oven control, and 3 of the II bolts. So for this step, what we're going to be doing first is putting the oven, clock, and timer next to the oven. When looking at this, you're going to see the 4 pegs where the bottom 2 are going to be going into these peg holes here at the bottom. So we're going to align them over top and make sure you have them push all the way down. Next, what we're going to be doing is putting on this front piece here. Now when looking at it, On the underside, you're going to see the 2 peg holes, which is where the oven peg holes are going to go into. These knobs here are going to be facing over the cabinet for the stovetop. So we're going to put this piece over, make sure that it's pushed into those pegs or into the holes. Then we're going to be putting in 3 bolts. One is going to be going into the middle here, into this middle divider, and then 1 into the left and the right side panels into this top piece. So let's get these 3 bolts put into place. For step 13, you need part C, the stove and sink top, part U, the faucet, and you need 1 mm bolt. So for this step, what we're going to be doing is putting the faucet onto the sink. Now, when looking at the faucet, one of the ends has a hole. This hole is going to align to this hole on the back side of the sink. We're going to align it so that the faucet is coming out of the side with a picture, and we're going to be putting the bolt through the bottom to hold the faucet into place. For step 14, you need part D, the diner kitchen window frame, 3 of part Z, which are the wooden pegs, and 3 of the JJ bolts. To attach the pegs to the window frame, what you're going to do is you're going to look for the side that has the larger 3 holes here on top. This is the side where the bolts are going to be going through into the pegs on the opposite side. We're going to put all 3 into place. Again, the bolts going through the side with the larger holes and screwing into the wooden pegs. For step 15, you need part M, the right gusset, part N, the left gusset, and 6 of the II bolts. Now to put the kitchen window into place, what we're going to be doing is lining it up to these 2 holes on each side of this kitchen base. We're going to have the wooden pegs facing towards the kitchen side, so towards the stove top and the sink, and we're going to be putting these support pieces on each side. Now when looking at these, you're going to see the plastic inserts. You're going to want these facing inward. The wooden peg is going to be facing downward. So you'll have to determine which side this one goes on. So for this one, the wooden peg is going to be going in towards the kitchen window with the hole for the bolt being outward towards the edge. When I put it into place, the plastic inserts are facing in towards the middle and it aligns to this kitchen window. So there's going to be 1 hole going through the bottom to bolt into the support piece and 1 hole bolt going in through the kitchen window into that. So again, same thing, this one will go here, a bolt coming up from the bottom into the support piece and 1 coming through the back of the window into the support. Lastly, you're going to have 2 bolts on the very bottom here that's going to go up into the kitchen window to hold this one into place. So let's get all these bolts screwed in. For step 16, you need 4 of the JJ bolts. So for this step, what we're going to be doing is putting the kitchen top onto the base. We're going to have this facing over, the stove top over the panel where it has the cabinet, and the sink will be going over the oven side. You're going to put it down, and it should slide right down into place. Now there's going to be 2 holes on the very end here, which is what's going to hold this kitchen top down. There's going to be 2 holes on this side as well, where these 4 bolts are going to go in. So let's get all 4 of these bolts screwed into place. And the last part of the assembly is putting on all the accessories into the Retro Diner kitchen set. The metal bowl will be going into the sink. That's what completes the sink here. And then you have all the fun accessories to be able to play with. And that concludes the assembly for the Retro Diner and Kitchen Doll playset with accessories. Remember, if you have any questions or concerns, to please contact Badger Basket as shown in the next clip. Badger Basket thanks you for watching and enjoy.